am your crypto nerd, helping to navigate you through the turbulence of the current cryptocurrency market. Lately, the market has been terrible. Percentages has been down. If you go on to coinmarketcaps.com, you're going to notice that there's huge drops in even major coin, and the most stable coins will take some dip. Scrolling down, you will notice more red than green, and that's a sign that the market is really on a low dip. And if we take a look at the current market cap, it is actually kind of low, which kind of helps again to reinforce the fact that the market is actually not doing very well. It is not stabilized as we and a lot of analysts has predicted at the beginning of 2018 that the market should be going up. But to me, I think of this as the perfect storm, and I like to compare it to the bubble burst, especially in the real estate industry around like 2009 or 2012, where there's a burst and then all these prices fell, and then eventually it takes time for it to eventually go back up. So there's three main reasons for Bitcoin, which is the elephant in the room, which is the coin that dominates the whole market, because most of the market now revolves around Bitcoin, and eventually Ethereum is slowly creeping up its ranking, but we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Anyway, so one of the reasons why the market is actually going down a lot is because, first of all, Bitcoin is going down, and Bitcoin controls most of the pricing for the other small altcoins. Bitcoin is going down because the fact that there are a few of the really big companies, they have decided not to no longer accept Bitcoin as one of their payments because of the volatility of that coin. In addition to that, you also have heard the fact that the coinmarketcaps.com has dropped the Korean exchanges, and what that does, it causes probably a scary effect within the trading community, and therefore a lot of the whales are dumping their other coins, which causes a dip in the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going down because the fact that a lot of people are actually moving on to Ethereum, which supposedly is a cheaper buy, and a lot of exchanges are actually starting to adopt more of the Ethereum. So if you look at the market cap for Ethereum, it's actually pretty big. Ethereum is now around $121 billion, and we compare that to the market cap of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is $234 billion. So Ethereum is actually half of Bitcoin. In relative to the price, Ethereum should be a bit higher than what it currently is. And currently, that's what it is showing. We also, if we compare the circulating supplies between Ethereum and Bitcoin, even though Ethereum has a bit more of a circulating supply, but again, its price should be a little bit higher. So because the fact that Bitcoin is really the dominant players within the crypto market share. The fact that it has its pricing has really gone down to almost $13,000 has really had a big impact on all these coins, and so you see this big dip of all the coin values. So the big question here is, if you are a long-term investor, if you had invested in some of these coins that has taken such a big dip, what should you be doing? And I think a lot of the veteran investors know exactly what to do in this down market. What they'll do is they'll just hold for the right time to sell. And they know that they've been here before, so there's really no need for them to be scared of. But I think for the new investors, when you had just basically invested a lot of your money into a specific coin or a portfolio of coins, and also you notice a huge drop in the percentage of how the coins are performing, you might tend to be worried. But keep this in mind. You didn't lose any money. The only time you lose money is if you sell those coins. So if you didn't sell those coins, technically you didn't lose any money. And on the other hand, it's also the same. If the coin goes up in values, intuitively you made money. But if you didn't really sell those coins, then technically you didn't make money. So at the end of the day, holding on to the coin, especially in a down market, is really one of the best strategies. And I think for new investors, they sometimes tend to panic a little bit because they're a bit impatient. So at the moment, if you are a new investor and you had invested in some of these coins that are taking really a big dip, what you should do now is you should just hold on and just kind of hold off on buying and selling. I do want to go and show you some of the coins that are actually performing pretty well. especially, and these coins are the coins with the really good technology and a really good track records within the last 7 days. So one of the coins is actually Icon. Icon, even though had taken some toll, but it has recovered pretty well. I mean, the difference between like 1050 to 12 isn't a huge difference compared to the fact that it has a total supply of 400 million and a market cap of 4 billion. So that's kind of like one of the reasons why you need to also diversify your portfolio and put your money into the coin that had a good track record and are really well known, also with a project in mind. Another coin I do really want to bring up is EOS. EOS, again, did take a big dip, but again, they do recover pretty fairly well. And that's because the fact that EOS is really they have such a big and awesome team that's behind them, and the fact that their project is really something that a lot of people have noticed. Some people have really compared EOS to the performance of Ethereum. And if you look at their website, it is so beautiful. And also the people that are behind this project are just really amazing people. So as far as some of the smaller coin goes, if you take a look at, for example, Tron and XVG, they have this violent wave that goes up and down, and once it goes down, it just kind of stays down. And that's because I think there's a lot of new investors that have heard of Tron through Twitters and social medias and stuff like that, and so they all of a sudden there's this wave of new investors that came in and buy Tron. However, there are a large number of whales that had really purchased Tron when it was really cheap, and then once that dump came, no one really buys. There's not a really huge amount of buyers that comes in and buy these coins, and therefore it continues to fall. But this is actually a really good opportunity for you to actually pick up some of these coins at such a low prices. I mean, this is unbelievable. These are what veterans investors do. They look at these dips and they know that this is a buy opportunity. A lot of the new investors will look at it and get scared and ended up selling the shares, and that's when they start losing a lot of money. So these are the times that you should buy the coins because they're so low. Remember, what goes down must come back up, right? Well, not all the time, but in theory, that is the case for most of these coins. If you look at the history of some of these coins, the way how they have been performing, they tend to go down, and then eventually they'll hang around a little bit and they'll go back up. Some coin will take a lot longer than others, but that's the case. So for example, back to the Bitcoin business, I expect Bitcoin to go back to the mark of 20 to 30,000 within a month or two. I'm not really too worried about Bitcoin. Again, the cryptocurrency market sees such a big volatile that there's really no one right analyst. A lot of people tend to kind of look at the graph and try to project what is going on in the future of its value in the next 2 to 3 months. But the reality is there's just so many different factors that could affect the value of the coin. So at the end of the day, the best way to trade and invest in cryptocurrency is to make sure that you are investing in a long term, and also to make sure that the coin you are investing, you bought it when it's really low. All right, so I'm gonna make a few videos as my upcoming project to show you how to buy coin at a really low price so that you can always make a profit. Subscribe to Crypto Nerd, and I will talk to you in the next video.